we can go across to France 24's Ellen Gainsford standing by on the Polish border with Ukraine. Good afternoon, Ellen. What's the situation like where you are?
Well, Delano, I'm at Medyka, which is the main border crossing for Ukrainian refugees coming into the country. There are more than 2.3 million Ukrainian refugees now in Poland, and that number has gone up by 5,000, at least 5,000 in the last 24 hours. That's according to Polish authorities. Well, one thing we've heard as we spoke to NGOs here at Medyka this morning is that they've seen quite a few people coming into Poland, having made that long journey and staying for only a few days and then returning to Ukraine. And they told us that could be for various reasons. That sometimes it's they've come to the border to drop off elderly relatives or children to ensure that they're safe, and then they themselves are returning back into Ukraine. And on other occasions, it's because they have elderly relatives who are remaining in Ukraine and they're unable to transport, and so they have to go back and care for them. But it is an opportunity for them to come here and at least rest and recuperate for a few days before traveling back. And we do know that all of the Ukrainians that we've spoken to so far who have traveled to Poland have said that their ultimate aim is to return back to Ukraine one day when it's safe to do so.
Okay, so they're coming in to the country knowing that it's not going to be for the long haul and hopefully they can return. Ellen, we've heard reports of how Poles have opened their homes up to Ukrainians, as well as providing people who've made the crossing hot meals, beverages, etc. What about healthcare in the country? Can you talk us through that?
Yes, well, the refugees entering the country, they are facing health risks on various fronts. I mean, while traveling, many have left their homes with just a few possessions, and it can be difficult to maintain hygiene levels whilst on the road. And then once they reach Poland, they're often staying in quite cramped conditions in refugee centres. And that puts them at risks of conditions like scabies and nits when people are really crammed in together. And we've been following one French doctor who's based here at the border, and yesterday he was treating a patient who had been bitten by a dog, and that's actually, he said, something that he's seeing quite regularly here, because many people are fleeing with their pets with them, and whilst it's a stressful experience for humans, it's also a stressful experience for animals. And so they've seen quite a few dog bites and dogs who've been attacking people on the route here. And another thing he said that he's seeing is people arriving with chronic conditions such as high blood pressure, and maybe they've grabbed medication enough for a few days, but they're close to the end of that. And so they do have quite significant stocks of medication here, which they're able to provide to refugees as soon as they're across a border and they've been checked properly. And he said that another thing that he's doing is also checking the medication that's been donated from people, just to see that it's in date and that it's sealed and that it's valid for use, because we do know that a huge amount of medical aid has been donated from people really all around the world, as they are keen to help out any way they can with this refugee crisis.
Ellen, thank you very much for that update. Ellen Gainsford reporting there from the Polish border with Ukraine.